It's gonna be like a little therapy session, I guess. Not really, actually. I just want to yap because, as you may know from the last yap session, probably don't fucking care, but this video is for me. Okay, you see what I mean? Anyways, I have been on this journey of trying to be like this fucking, not trying to be anything, but trying to better my life, I guess you could say. Trying to build something of substance, of value for myself, and diverting myself from that traditional path. The thing with that is that usually you hear these stories, right, of people are saying like, yeah, so I wanted to follow my passion, follow my dreams, so I quit my job and I went to do it, and suddenly everything's fucking sunshine and rainbows after. But meanwhile, for me, it's like I've been doing this shit for so fucking long, for like 6 years now. I haven't fucking reached the peak yet, and I'm frustrated. It frustrates me because I know that there's no one else but me to blame, you know? And that also brings my thoughts down to another path of, well, is it really, like, maybe I am actually being oppressed by something, you know? Maybe it's not my fault. I've been sold a lie that if you haven't made it yet, it's because of you, because you haven't worked hard enough. And as much as I want to lean back on that and believe that that's true, because it would take away a lot of responsibility on my plate, and I can just say that it wasn't my fault. But I think no matter what, ultimately I know it is, because I can't fucking figure it out. I can't fucking figure out why I haven't reached my peak yet, why I haven't reached the exact flow state that I've wanted for so long, you know? All of this is stemming from, really, is whether or not I've achieved financial success, because I haven't, even though I've been on this fucking path, and I've spent all this time trying to master these skills, I'm not a master yet, but I'm trying to improve on these skills, and I have drastically from the moment I began, and I haven't, it feels like I should be a lot further ahead than I am right now, you know? But maybe that's just the brute reality of it. Maybe that's just what it is. Maybe also I'm stemming my own way too, you know? And I'm telling you all this only because I want to be transparent about where my head is. Not only for you, but for me, because I watch these back, right? These are like my journal entries that I like to look back on, to see where my headspace is at, and this is where it's at right now. Because I feel like I'm running on a hamster wheel right now, doing client work, fucking just barely scraping by. And the reason I know it's my fault is because I've talked to other people who have succeeded at what I'm doing, who are more or less doing the same work that I'm doing, and they're making a lot more. And I can't fucking figure out why. And I do know why in some parts, okay? Maybe I'm not doing enough cold outreach. I'm not charging enough. I think that's definitely true. And at the same time, even though I know that, if I really think about it, I have no idea where I'm going wrong, because I don't know if I'm bringing enough value, you know? And you might hear that and you might think, well, if you're not bringing enough value, then why don't you go increase it? I feel like I am at the same time. That sounds so fucking stupid. It sounds so contradicting. Because if you look at my fucking Instagram page, okay, I've proven that I know how to go viral. I've proven that I know how to bring some sort of, gather some sort of attention, right? And then now it just comes to monetizing it. How do I monetize it to the best of my ability that I can? Not only that, but also how do I try to sell myself to a client that is willing to pay me for the amount that I think I'm worth. And I think, for one, I am undervaluing myself in that aspect, because I'm charging like $200 a reel right now. Before, that's a lot for me and that makes sense. But now that I'm thinking about it and I've talked to a few people, it doesn't fucking make sense. if I'm really gonna make you something that'll turn some sort of result, I shouldn't be charging that much. And I think this stems from this idea of being afraid, I guess. Because I'm afraid that if I charge up my prices and people are not going to accept that, then, of course I'll be fucked. So maybe I just solved my own question right there, but maybe that's what it is. It's fear of what's comfortable with you right now. So you undervalue yourself because you're afraid that by asking for more, you're overestimating yourself or something, and that you won't be acknowledged for what you think you're worth. Fuck, man, I don't know. The point of this all is that I'm frustrated that I've built up this thing, all right? And regardless of if you see it as impressive or not, or if it is actually impressive or not, because I don't know. I have not seen this from a third person perspective. All I can tell you is that from my perspective, I put in a lot of fucking work. I put in a lot of fucking effort to figure this thing out, to try and make this as quality as possible for myself, right? But whether or not that's actually true, I feel as if I should be deserving of more. Or maybe that's just entitlement, Either way, I feel like I'm doing it wrong. I'm going about it wrong. That there are people out there who don't even have a social media presence that are doing the same thing that I'm doing, and they're succeeding in this way more than I am. And it's like we're running the same race, but for some reason I'm so far behind still. For one, that's why it's important to have sort of a team around you that would understand what it is that you're going through, or what it is that you're trying to express. Because when I try to tell this to the people that are in my immediate life, right? And this goes even way back to when I was doing this before I joined the army, and I kind of gave it up a little bit. It was the fact that no one around me was doing the same thing that I'm doing. So they don't understand what it is that I'm trying to accomplish. So they can't tell me or give me the proper advice that I need in order to succeed in this. And then all the people that I am actually working with, I feel like I'm being exploited. I feel like I'm being taken advantage of because of my generosity, because I see, coming from a broke background, $200, even $100, that's what I was doing before, is a lot to me. But in retrospect, what I'm making monthly is no more than minimum wage. And I'm putting in more time, more effort. Even though I'm accepting of it because I enjoy it a little more. I'd rather do that than, at least it's on my own time and something I remotely enjoy. But even then, it comes this fear of, okay, so if I do get what I want, I find a client that's willing to pay me $1,000 for a video, and now I'm doing the work for him. What if the result that I churn out isn't what I expected? And I ended up being a disappointment. That shit is also what scares me, alright? Because maybe it might happen. Maybe. But then now that I'm thinking about it, why am I being such a bitch, such a pussy about it? A bigger kill is going to be harder to find, of course. It's going to take more time. But once it hits, once it lands, once you get that kill, then it'll make up for all the lost time, right? At least that's what it should in theory. But, once you put it into practice, it's a little harder. I don't know. All I do know is that for myself, I can churn out these results. I can, generally when I make a post, I can kind of guess how well it's going to do, And a lot of it is random still. Like, the post that I thought will do well might not do as well as I think. But regardless, it'll still perform at a certain range, at a certain average that I know it will do. I just wish that with every post, that maybe it could guarantee some sort of monetary result for myself. So that way I'm not I'm not like stressing about this aspect of my life for so much, you know. But at the same time, it's like I always think to myself, sure, I'm thinking I'm working hard enough, but if I'm not seeing the result right now, then clearly something is wrong. Clearly, I'm not as hardworking as I thought I am, or grinding as hard as I think I am. And that shit just fucking frustrates me because I don't know what the fucking barrier to entry is. I don't know where the bar has been set, right? And that goes back to what I was saying before about the immediate people around you, because I mean, I grew up pretty fucking normal, you know. Everyone that I had grown up around in my life are just, they're not very business minded. They're not very entrepreneurial. So, of course, I have the same mindset of just being a regular worker, of being a regular, citizen, normal citizen, I guess. That's like, I'm built to like just show up to a shift and then, get the result of that shift. If I work for 8 hours at $20 an hour, I'm going to make that much after taxes, whatever, after a shift, I mean, that's a lot easier for me to understand, but what I'm having a hard time to wrap my head around is, okay, how hard do I need to work in order to get a certain result? What do I need to do in order to get a certain result? Because right now it just feels random. But for the people who have succeeded in this already, they have built a formula, a sort of system that has yielded results for them, and I can't fucking figure it out, so it frustrates me. And then I can't go around and ask the people around me how to do this either, because they don't fucking know. They're just going to tell me it's impossible because to them it's impossible. To them it's not even a fucking reality. It's not even a thought in their reality. It's not even a fucking... It's a fantasy. That is part of why I wanted to get into social media shit too, because I saw from a young age what it can do for a person's life. What it can do, not only for that, but how it can get you into that door of molding the world to be how you imagine it to be and shaping it to your imagination. Because I've always watched, like, not even social media, but like movies growing up, consuming media, and to me, I've always just wondered how, because someone made that thing, like how did someone just make that thing and now it's appeared right here in my eyes? It's not a matter of like the technicalities. Like, of course, you pick up a camera, you start filming, you think of ideas, but I'm thinking about the impact it has on someone's life. Like, someone has made that, and now it's like residing in my head. I don't fucking know who they are, but whatever idea they had has now, taken some shape in my life. How do I get involved with that? How do I do that for myself, for the world? That's my mission anyways, of what I want to do, to make a real impact. I don't want to be consuming for the rest of my life. I want to be part of it. I want to be part of the action, part of the whatever's happening. And I think most of us, and I think it's fine if you're on the sidelines watching, it's totally fine. That's like 90% of the world, So there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like, I just want to try. I want to try. But when you're trying and you are still on the sideline at the same time, you look at the other people on the sideline with you, you're looking at the stage and you're saying, I want to go up there. You sound fucking nuts. Because to everyone else on the sideline, it's like, no, your reality is here. It remains in the sideline. You're not supposed to be up there. So it's trying to break out of that limiting belief, that of okay, what am I capable of? What is it that's actually true in my reality that I can do to get to where I want to get? Is it even possible? I don't even know if I'm fucking, if what I'm saying is making sense, or if I'm just yapping, saying nonsense, trying to sound all grown up and smart and shit. Yeah, man. I like to believe it's fucking possible, okay? I'm not gonna let go of that belief of that that eventually, if I just keep grinding away at this, if I keep bashing my head into the wall, eventually it'll break. No matter how much people look at me like I'm retarded. Well, you know, when I was leaving the army, and you know, you have to tell them why you're leaving, and I'm like, okay, well, I want to pursue my social media stuff, and they all just give you that look. It was like, and so you're gonna quit this, and you're gonna go do TikTok. You're gonna oh, okay, you know, and it's like, I think of that, and I'm just like, fuck, I want to prove I'm wrong. That's like the same look I've received my entire life. This look of disbelief, this look as if I'm stupid for wanting to do something that's different, for wanting to not just be a consumer, to not just want to be like everyone else. It's like it's wrong to have ambitions. I remember, I've said this before, but this girl that I used to mingle with, I remember just trying to explain this dream that I have, and for some reason, these past few years, you know, and it's funny because growing up, it's like people are always telling you, oh, to dream big, to have these dreams, and that no matter what, there was always this. I just touched my dick there. Okay, don't. They're always pushing this idea that nothing is impossible, right? Until you turn into an adult and suddenly you get pulled down to the real world, and everyone's trying to tell you that it's silly to have big dreams. It's silly to fucking want to pursue this. You know, like, you're fucking stupid. It's crazy. I don't know if it's just because I am an adult now that kind of idealistic way of thinking should be thrown out the window, or if it's that maybe they're right. You see, when I'm speaking here, I don't want to make you think of like I'm on a certain, I'm trying to push a certain view onto anyone. I've always wanted to remain as like in the middle as possible, because we all seem to think that you should either be on one end or the other end, you know. But I think there's always going to be a pushback for both sides, and I want to try to remain as neutral as possible, even though I think that might be impossible with certain things. But the point is, the girl that I used to mingle with, I don't know, she made me feel like a villain to want to be like that, to be ambitious. And that's like the look that I've received for most of my life from people who say I shouldn't do these things because I'm not him. You know, I know I'm not him, man. I'm not trying to say that I'm him. I don't want to be him. I just want to follow what the fuck my heart is telling me to do. As corny and cheesy as that fucking sounds, you know? Maybe I have watched one too many movies, and I was inspired and impacted by those a little too much, but so be it, man. I think the world is just so diverse that there's just why would I choose to just be like everyone else and try to live this as normal as possible when there's all this opportunities out there, right? But then it goes back, because I'll say shit like that, and then I'll get frustrated myself that I can't capitalize on these opportunities. So at the same time, I'm proving them right so far. There was that one quote said by Alex Hormozi where he's like, for so long you will have to hear people tell you that you're wrong, and you're gonna have to just accept that for so long until it clicks, and then you are right. I'm feeling that, but sometimes the light at the tunnel isn't as bright as it should be for me, as I feel like, as I want it to be, you know. But it's life, I guess. Standing in your own way, huh? I think maybe that's what I'm doing. Standing my own way a little too much. Trying to put too much pressure on myself to figure this thing out, that I end up doing nothing at all. I ended up staying stagnant. It's funny because maybe if you pull back the camera to look at the wider story, to look at the bigger picture, maybe I am being too hard on myself or something, but who fucking knows? Who fucking knows? You know? Entrepreneurship, business is hard. Life is hard. But that's the fun of it, right? That's supposed to be the fun of it. Basically, fear is a fucking big factor. And it's about how you get around it. And that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. How do I fucking fight this fear, bro? I wish it was like boxing where he could just stand in front of me and I could just swing at him. But it's not. That's it.